Hello everybody, this is Fernando for the latest Haunted Dolls and Curses video. Well, I haven't done one of these video in a while. It's been about maybe 6 months or so since my last go around. So I thought I would mix this random one in here while I'm continuing to do some of your cryptids and monsters suggestions. This one has to do with a doll that actually mixes both. Not only is it a cursed item, but this curse has also led to its many haunts. In fact, some of the information on here is a little startling, but at the same time, I'm wondering why there's not more proof associated with that information. I mean, if this is something that apparently does the routines that it does, the haunting routines that it does on a nightly basis, I mean, talk about a fantastic way of showcasing ghostly evidence, like right out of the blue. But still, I'll present that here in a minute, and then you'll be able to be the judge of essentially what I'm talking about. But it has to do with this. You're looking at it now. Freaky looking doll as is. It's known as Joliet the Haunted Doll. So let's go ahead and let's talk about all the fascinating information associated with this doll, and then see again with regards to its claims about it being haunted. So here's essentially the story of the doll. Now, there's no exact time period when it comes to the origin of this doll, only that it's been with a particular family for over 100 years. And the family in of itself is a little anonymous. Like, there's a name associated with at least the current owner, a woman by the name of Anna, but no other names as far as the previous owners, not even the location, and as I mentioned, no time periods, nothing like that. Now, this could all be, again, just to make sure that the information stays private, that none of this stuff essentially causes a whirlwind of headaches for the current owners. But on the other side, it could just mean other things with regards to keeping things secret on purpose and making sure that, there's hard details to be able to find proof of. But still, I go by in this case the idea that maybe it is truly an anonymous thing, mainly to ensure that the information of the people are protected. But yes, this is 100-plus-year-old doll that you're looking at right now. The story of how the curse happened goes like this. So again, the curse happened first, and then afterwards, that's when the hauntings occurred. So here's what happened. Apparently, over 100-plus years ago, the family's great-grandmother came into possession of this doll from a friend. Again, no idea when this doll was given, who that friend was, and why they even gave it. The presumption is that it was more along the lines of a gift. This was because the great-grandma at the time already had one child, and in this case, they were going to have a second one. They were pregnant with their current child. And so whoever gave them this gift was a friend of the family, and they gave it to them with the auspices that, yes, it would be truly a nice gift, a welcome gift for the upcoming baby. But as it turns out, no, this is not the case. This was apparently a cursed item, a cursed doll. And the reason for it also remains mysterious. Why would the friend do this? If they were a friend of the family, if anybody was a friend of yours or of your family, why would somebody place a curse on an item that they're about to give to someone who is also pregnant with their second child? All of that, again, is left up in the air for mysterious purposes. One can only assume that it's because either A, that friend was extremely jealous. Maybe they were jealous because of B, they couldn't have their own children. Or maybe C, they've tried, but their spouse has stated no, that they didn't want any children. Or D, it could just be that they had children, but it didn't turn out like they thought it would, and they thought this other family was picture perfect. I mean, the list can go on and on. All of that, again, is lost in time, and so it being 100-plus years ago, there's probably never going to be a true reason found. Either way, though, the curse worked like this. Once the great-grandma got that doll, unfortunately, it doomed the second child, this child that the woman was pregnant with. Because once she had her child, cut to about 3 days later, and then that boy that was born from the great-grandmother unfortunately passed away. Not only that, but it passed away from an unexplained illness. So again, also that's left up in the air when it comes to what happened to that child, what was the reason, the sickness associated with their death. So eventually, though, this strange thing happened. As it turns out, this doll next became a haunted item because the grandmother stated that going forward, she swore she would hear a cry coming from that doll. And to her, it sounded like it was her dead son. Like somehow this great grandmother's newly dead son had entered this doll, and now it was making its presence known through the doll itself. And it would do so by crying into the night. So at certain times at night, it would basically be bawling its eyes out. And when that happened, that's when the great grandmother presumed that, yes, this was it. This was her son now making communications through her, through the doll itself, to make sure that it was talking to her, that it contained her dead son's soul. So the great grandmother absolutely kept this doll, passed it on to their daughter, and then their daughter ended up actually having this curse continue with them. The same exact thing. They had a previous child. In that case, it was a female. And then were pregnant with a second child, being a boy. The boy was born, but then 3 days later, it died. Like the boy was dead after those 3 days. And so the curse continued with that new generation, and then cut to the third generation, and then that's when it continued yet again. That's when the mother of Anna had a daughter, in this case herself, and then when that happened, they were pregnant with the boy, but then the boy ended up passing 3 days after birth as well. And so if you thought that it ended there, no, it continues apparently to the present. That's when Anna, the current owner of the doll, mind you, again, this is now 100 plus years of generations, she in turn also had a daughter, and then that was the first child, and then the second child that she was pregnant with would have been a boy. They were born, but then it turns out that it died as well. The baby died 3 days after birth. And so that's where it stands right now. That's where the curse/hauntings are there right now. Each time that each of those generations of women and their sons, their newly born sons, died, each of those babies ended up going into the doll. So now, not only do you have one, not two, not three, but four boys, four baby boys whose souls are apparently trapped within that haunted doll. And on some occasions, Anna states that yes, she'll hear at least one, but in other occasions, it'll be a multitude of them, even up to four different babies crying within the night, crying from that haunted doll itself. So can you imagine that type of calamity, right? There you have something like this happening in your home. You're hearing all of these multiple cries, and it's all coming from this haunted doll just creepily staring back at you, and then just making sure that yes, it knows that it has these souls of the dead sons, and that they're using it as a vessel of some sort to be able to communicate with the current generations of family. It's interesting stuff, right? But spooky at the same time. This is the kind of stuff, again, that would pretty much, get me out of there. Like when it comes to hearing not just one, but four dead children within this haunted doll. And then that's definitely something I would not want to experience on that. And now, I was mentioning earlier, though, that the information is kind of a little suspect, mainly because if this has truly happened on an almost nightly basis where up to four children are crying from this haunted doll, no other explanation, obviously, like where it could be coming from, nothing else natural that's causing those type of noises within the household, wouldn't there be just a huge amount of evidence that could be gathered, right? Like put a camera right in front of the doll on a nightly basis, live stream it, put something there that at least is able to capture that evidence, and then one can hear each of those poor young sons, each of those sons communicating through the vessel associated with this doll. And that would be some of the most remarkable evidence pretty much ever from the world of the paranormal. The fact that that's not done could mean more along lines like I was mentioning earlier, where it's anonymous, like somebody doesn't want to show that information. They'll talk about it, but they don't want to show it because they just want to keep it private. They don't want to showcase this stuff, and because of the sensitive nature involved, obviously, like this doll would not just be a regular doll. This is truly something associated with generations of deceased family members, so they probably wouldn't want to have something along those lines shown and broadcast and live streamed, who knows where, but that's at least my theory associated with him. As to the whereabouts of this doll, I'm assuming that it's still with Anna, but unknown again where this doll could be. But that's at least the information, everything associated with Joliet, the haunted doll. By the way, I don't know where Joliet came from as terms of a name. I did not read that was, I think, part of the first dead son's name. So if someone has more information on that, then please post those comments below, because that'd be interesting to hear where the origin of it comes from. But yes, if anybody has any more information, something I might have missed, then please post those comments below. All right, everybody. Thanks again as always. Take care. Bye.